Hello, Chelsea fans. Welcome back to the Blues Report, and remember to subscribe, then enjoy your news. Let's dive in. The Blue Revolution. Garnacho and Fermin Lopez arrive at Chelsea in the restless summer of 2025. Chelsea Football Club once again stood at the centre of Europe's ever-turning carousel of ambition, hope, and staggering transfer stories. For months, speculation had swirled around Stamford Bridge. Which bright young stars would become the newest pillars of the club's rebuild? Who would walk through the gates of Cobham training ground to begin shaping a new era? The answer arrived like a storm that electrified the football world. Two of Spain's most dazzling young talents, Alejandro Garnacho and Fermin Lopez, would be pulling on the royal blue of Chelsea. The story began in whispers, as all seismic changes do. Garnacho, long admired for his explosive pace and daring style at Manchester United, had been courted by several clubs. His name was sung with reverence by fans of fast, direct football, the kind that could turn a game on its head in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Fermin Lopez had been blossoming at Barcelona, a product of La Masia, whose creativity, vision, and intelligence had begun to shine on the grandest stages. Where Garnacho was fire and chaos, Fermin was composure and orchestration, a balance of instincts and intellect that Chelsea had been desperately craving. It was not just about signing two names, it was about reshaping Chelsea's identity. The first rumours. Late in June, the rumour mill churned faster than ever. Journalists stationed outside Stamford Bridge noticed an unusual bustle of agents, intermediaries, and Chelsea executives burning midnight oil. Garnacho's agent was spotted in London, his presence fueling speculation that a deal might be possible. But most dismissed it at first. Why would United, a rival of Chelsea, allow one of their brightest jewels to depart? And then, almost simultaneously, whispers out of Catalonia suggested that Barcelona's financial strain had once again forced them into difficult decisions. Fermin Lopez, despite being earmarked as part of their future, had admirers across Europe. Chelsea, flush with ambition, were ready to act. The fanbase was caught in a state of frenzy. Social media erupted with threads, mock-ups of Garnacho and Fermin in blue kits, debates over whether the duo could truly transform Chelsea's midfield and attack. Rival fans scoffed, suggesting it was nothing more than fantasy. Yet behind the scenes, negotiations were heating up. The announcement, on a warm evening in July, Chelsea's official channels confirmed what many thought impossible. Alejandro Garnacho and Fermin Lopez are Blues. The announcement broke the internet, eclipsing even the busiest of transfer windows. Garnacho signed on a long-term deal, his arrival symbolizing Chelsea's willingness to invest not only in proven quality, but in raw, fearless potential. Fermin Lopez followed with equal fanfare, his deal carrying the weight of promise that Chelsea would finally regain the creative heartbeat in midfield that had been missing since the departures of legends like Cesc Fabregas and Frank Lampard years earlier. In one statement, Chelsea declared its intent not merely to compete, but to dominate. The arrival at Cobham, when Garnacho and Fermin walked into Cobham training ground for the first time, the atmosphere among the players shifted instantly. Training sessions, already charged with intensity under Chelsea's demanding staff, gained an extra edge. Cole Palmer, one of the breakout stars of the previous season, was among the first to welcome Garnacho. The two had crossed paths countless times as rivals in Manchester, but now found themselves as teammates. "We'll light up the wings together?" Garnacho grinned, his trademark confidence radiating. Palmer, more understated but equally ambitious, nodded knowingly. Chelsea suddenly had two of the Premier League's most inventive wide players on the same team. Fermin, meanwhile, gravitated toward Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. In the rondo drills, his sharp first touch and eye for space impressed instantly. He played passes that cut through the press with the same ease he had shown at Barcelona. Senior players murmured their approval. Chelsea had not just gained energy and pace in Garnacho, they had gained structure and vision in Fermin. Training dynamics. The first weeks of training told the story of adaptation. Garnacho's fiery temperament occasionally clashed with the regimented structure of Chelsea's tactical drills, but his hunger was undeniable. Time and again, he pushed beyond the markers in sprint tests, determined to outwork everyone. In one memorable scrimmage, Garnacho picked up the ball near the halfway line, skipped past Malo Gusto with a burst of acceleration, and rifled a shot into the top corner past George Petrovic. Teammates erupted in applause, not merely for the goal, but for the statement it carried. Garnacho was here to be a difference maker. Fermin, on the other hand, showcased a quieter brilliance. During positional play exercises, he constantly scanned the pitch, dropping into spaces where defenders least expected. In one sequence, he orchestrated a flowing move that ended with Nicholas Jackson tapping in a simple finish. Coaches praised him openly. Chelsea finally had a player capable of dictating tempo, of turning possession into purposeful attack. Fans and the buzz around London, as word spread of their training performances, Chelsea's fan base swelled with hope. Outside Stamford Bridge, queues for Garnacho and Fermin shirts grew longer by the day. Supporters debated where they would fit best. Would Garnacho cement himself as the left-wing dynamo, or would he alternate with Estevão, Chelsea's own Brazilian prodigy? Could Fermin partner Enzo as a double pivot, or would he thrive further upfield as a free-spirited playmaker? London was alive with the anticipation of what the season could bring. For a club that had endured years of inconsistency, this felt like a turning point. First match in blue. The debut came in late August, under the bright lights of Stamford Bridge. Chelsea faced a stubborn Fulham side, eager to spoil the party. The stadium was electric, banners for Garnacho and Fermin draped across the Matthew Harding stand. Garnacho was unleashed from the start. Within minutes, he had defenders backpedaling, his direct runs injecting chaos into Fulham's shape. The crowd roared each time he touched the ball, sensing the danger that lurked in his boots. Fermin began more quietly, probing with his passes, knitting together Chelsea's midfield. But in the 35th minute, he slipped an incisive through ball between two defenders, releasing Garnacho into space. Garnacho darted forward, cut inside onto his right, and curled a shot past the Fulham goalkeeper. Stamford Bridge erupted. It was a moment scripted for destiny, the new signings combining to deliver a goal that felt like the birth of a new Chelsea. By the final whistle, Chelsea had won convincingly, and the headlines across England were unanimous. The Blues' future has arrived. The symbolism of their signing beyond goals and assists, Garnacho and Fermin represented something deeper. They were symbols of Chelsea's return to the forefront of footballing culture, a reminder that the club remained a destination for world-class talent. Garnacho brought with him the flair of Argentine heritage and Premier League tenacity. Fermin embodied the intelligence and artistry of Spanish football. Together, they mirrored Chelsea's ambition to blend styles, to merge energy with elegance. Inside the dressing room, both players became integral to the atmosphere. Garnacho, despite his fierce competitiveness, bonded quickly with the younger South American contingent, Enzo, Caicedo, and Estevão. Fermin, thoughtful and observant, often found himself discussing tactics late into the evening with the coaching staff. Their presence wasn't just about what happened on the pitch, but about instilling belief and unity. The season that followed, as the 2025-26 campaign unfolded, Chelsea's transformation became clearer with each passing week. Garnacho's unpredictability terrorized fullbacks across England. His goals, some audacious, some instinctive, gave Chelsea an edge they had lacked. Fermin, meanwhile, evolved into the heartbeat of the team, his passing range and composure making Chelsea's midfield one of the most feared in Europe. Fans began to sing new chants for them, weaving their names into the club's folklore. Opposing managers spoke in press conferences about the difficulty of containing Chelsea's new duo. The footballing world recognized what had been accomplished. Chelsea had not only signed two extraordinary talents, but had fused them into a system that maximized their strengths. Conclusion: the story of Garnacho and Fermin Lopez joining Chelsea was not just about transfer fees or contracts. It was about identity, belief, and the pursuit of greatness. It was about a club that had stumbled in recent years, but refused to be defined by mediocrity. When future generations look back on Chelsea's history, the summer of 2025 will stand out as a watershed moment. For it was then that Alejandro Garnacho and Fermin Lopez donned the blue of Chelsea, not merely to play football, but to ignite a revolution. And as the season unfolded, one truth became impossible to deny. Stamford Bridge had found its fire again.